Imagine walking through your home, believing everything is safe and familiar, only to realize that some everyday objects might be silently inviting negative energy or even spirits into your life. Items that seem harmless, decorations, old furniture, or even forgotten trinkets, can carry energies you never intended. While your home should be a sanctuary, these overlooked items can disrupt peace, bringing unease, restless nights, or a feeling that something isn't quite right. You might have sensed it before: small, unexplainable disturbances, sudden chills, or emotions that feel heavier than they should be. The truth is, these subtle forces thrive in the unnoticed corners of our lives. But awareness is the first step toward protection. In this video, we'll uncover the most common household items that unknowingly attract negative energy and explore practical, actionable steps to cleanse your space. By understanding what you bring into your home, you can transform it into a safe, harmonious environment where peace reigns and unwanted forces have no foothold. Stay with us, because the insights you'll gain here could change not just the atmosphere of your home, but the very energy that surrounds you every day. Your sanctuary starts with what you choose to keep. When we think of danger, most of us immediately picture physical threats, broken locks, intruders, or accidents that could harm our bodies. But there is another type of danger, subtler yet equally impactful: negative energy and demons. According to She Heng Yi's teachings, demons are not always the terrifying, monstrous figures depicted in stories or movies. They can be invisible forces or spirits drawn to imbalances, unresolved emotions, or even specific items in our homes. They thrive in corners where energy stagnates, where clutter gathers, or where our intentions have been careless. Negative energy, while less tangible than a broken window, can influence our daily lives in profound ways. It can cause sleepless nights, unexplained tension, constant arguments, or a feeling that something is off, even when everything seems fine on the surface. This energy feeds on fear, ignorance, and neglect, making the ordinary extraordinary in its potential impact. The contrast is clear: physical dangers are seen, measured, and dealt with through locks, alarms, or barriers. Invisible dangers, however, require awareness, knowledge, and intentional action. Recognizing them means understanding that our surroundings are alive with energy. Every object we place in our homes carries vibration, and some can inadvertently attract harmful forces. Many spiritual traditions echo this understanding, emphasizing that vigilance over energy is as crucial as attention to the physical world. By acknowledging that unseen forces exist and learning how to manage them, we protect not just our space but our peace of mind. Ignoring this aspect is like leaving a door wide open to intruders. Only these intruders are unseen and can affect our emotions, our relationships, and even our luck. In this section, you will begin to see the invisible patterns around you. You'll understand why certain items, sometimes seemingly innocuous, act as magnets for negative energy. By learning the signs and becoming aware of how energy flows in your home, you take the first essential step toward creating a sanctuary that is safe, harmonious, and truly yours. Our homes are supposed to be sanctuaries, a place where we feel safe, relaxed, and rejuvenated. Yet, paradoxically, these very spaces can sometimes attract negative energy or even draw the attention of unseen forces. According to She Heng Yi's teachings, the vulnerability of a home is rarely about external threats. Instead, it often stems from subtle imbalances within the space itself. One major factor is clutter. When rooms are overcrowded, surfaces are piled high, and objects are scattered without intention, energy stagnates. Just as stagnant water breeds mosquitoes, stagnant energy invites disturbances that can affect the atmosphere of your home. Emotional residue is another critical element. Homes hold memories, both positive and negative. Unresolved conflicts, lingering resentment, or past traumas can leave an imprint on the space, creating invisible pockets that attract negative forces. Placement of items also matters. An object left in a shadowed corner, a broken mirror, or even a decorative item with symbolic meaning can unintentionally act as an anchor for negative energy. These objects, while seemingly harmless, carry vibration, and when aligned with imbalance, they provide a foothold for energy that disrupts harmony. Finally, a lack of spiritual awareness makes homes more susceptible. Just as we maintain locks, alarms, and security systems to protect against physical intrusions, vigilance over the energy in our homes requires knowledge and conscious action. Ordinary items can become conduits for energy, amplifying disturbances if left unchecked. Understanding these vulnerabilities is essential. By recognizing how clutter, emotional residue, and improper placement create opportunities for negative energy, you take the first step in safeguarding your home. Awareness alone begins to shift the energy, allowing you to reclaim your sanctuary as a space of balance, calm, and protection. Our homes often contain everyday items that seem harmless, even comforting. But according to She Heng Yi, some of these objects can act as invisible magnets for negative energy or spiritual disturbances. What appears innocent may conceal subtle dangers that slowly disrupt your household's balance. Let's explore the top 10 items and why they attract demons, along with signs to watch for. Mirrors are meant to reflect light and beauty, but when misused, they can amplify energy in unintended ways. Cracked mirrors or mirrors facing the bed may become conduits for negative spirits, drawing attention from entities that feed on unresolved emotions. Stories from practitioners tell of families experiencing repeated nightmares and sudden chills after placing old mirrors in bedrooms. The contrast is striking. A mirror that decorates a room versus a mirror that opens a hidden portal for disturbances. Ensuring mirrors are clean, whole, and positioned mindfully can prevent them from becoming a silent attraction for unseen forces. Unused or broken electronic devices, old TVs, radios, or computers emit residual energy. Their static vibrations, combined with neglect, can form low-energy pockets where negative entities linger. Imagine an abandoned laptop in a dark corner, gathering dust while strange noises echo at night. The danger is invisible to the eye, it's just an old device. Yet, subtle changes in mood, increased irritability, or restless sleep may indicate that the energy in that corner is stagnant. Removing or properly storing these electronics neutralizes this risk and restores harmony. Attics and basements often harbor forgotten items, boxes of old clothes, toys, or furniture. Over time, these areas collect residual emotions and energy imprints. A seemingly harmless toy chest can become an anchor for negative energy when it stores memories of conflict or neglect. One family recounted how unexplained cold drafts and whispers always emerged from a cluttered attic until it was thoroughly cleaned and reorganized. The lesson is clear. Cluttered spaces may visually seem like storage, but energetically act as breeding grounds for spiritual disturbances. Mindful organization and clearing are essential to maintain balance. Objects intended for protection, like statues or talismans, can ironically attract negativity if neglected or misused. A sacred object placed disrespectfully or in a chaotic environment may flip its energy, drawing the opposite of its intended protection. Stories speak of charms left on the floor or dusty altars, causing unexplained tension in households. The contrast is stark. A protective symbol versus an accidental beacon for negative forces. Regular cleansing, respectful placement, and active engagement with these items maintain their positive influence. Dolls, especially those with detailed facial features, can store energy from the people around them. Emotional imprints or prolonged neglect may make them hotspots for disturbances. Parents have reported unexplained movement of toys or eerie feelings near doll collections. While they seem innocent, a decorative or sentimental piece, their subtle energy imprint creates potential vulnerabilities. Regularly cleaning, limiting excessive accumulation, and conscious placement ensures that dolls remain objects of joy rather than conduits for negative energy. Candles and incense are meant to purify spaces, but burned in excess or left unattended, they can attract low-energy entities. Flickering shadows and lingering smoke patterns can create pockets of stagnant energy. Many practitioners notice restless feelings or unexpected noises when candles are used without intention. The contrast is clear. Ritualistic use fosters balance, while careless use invites subtle disturbances. Using them mindfully, extinguishing them properly, and keeping areas ventilated prevents them from becoming a risk. Knives, scissors, and other sharp items carry potent symbolic energy. Misplaced or neglected, they can amplify anger, aggression, or tension in a household. Stories tell of households experiencing frequent arguments or heightened anxiety with knives left in the wrong places. What seems ordinary, a kitchen tool, is also an energy amplifier. Ensuring sharp objects are stored safely, handled respectfully, and not left in chaotic areas maintains a protective, rather than disruptive, energy in the home. TVs, computers, or tablets used to stream violent or disturbing content may imprint negative vibrations into the household. Unlike broken electronics, these are active sources. Exposure to anger, fear, or sadness through media leaves residual energy in the space. Families report tense atmospheres and restless children after prolonged viewing of such content. The contrast lies in entertainment versus energy risk. Monitoring media consumption, setting limits, and choosing uplifting content mitigates this hidden danger. Plants bring life and vibrancy, but can also harbor low energy if neglected or decaying. Dead leaves, rotting soil, or withered stems carry stagnant energy that invites imbalance. Stories of homes with wilting plants often correlate with restlessness, irritability, or low motivation among residents. The visual appeal of a plant contrasts sharply with its energetic reality. Regular care, pruning, and removing dead plants ensures greenery continues to nurture positivity instead of attracting subtle disturbances. Jewelry, especially items with sentimental value, stores emotional energy. Forgotten necklaces, rings, or bracelets left in drawers may hold unresolved emotions like grief, jealousy, or regret. This stored energy, if not consciously released or managed, can act as an invisible anchor for negative energy. Families report uneasy feelings or sudden fatigue near neglected jewelry collections. The contrast, a precious keepsake versus a hidden source of imbalance. Regularly organizing, cleansing, and wearing or intentionally releasing jewelry prevents it from becoming a conduit for negativity. Every home carries more than just physical objects. It carries energy, memories, and subtle influences that affect the people living within. The everyday items we examined, mirrors, dolls, neglected electronics, clutter, or even abandoned jewelry, may seem harmless. Yet, when ignored or improperly managed, they can have a profound psychological and spiritual impact. For those unaware of these influences, the effects are often insidious. Anxiety may build subtly, appearing as restlessness or irritability. Sleep disturbances become common, with residents experiencing vivid dreams, tossing and turning, or waking up fatigued despite adequate rest. Emotional resilience weakens over time, leaving people more sensitive to conflict, fear, and sudden bursts of anger or sadness. Energy levels decline without clear explanation, creating a cycle of fatigue and irritability that affects daily life. What seems like ordinary stress may, in fact, be linked to the unseen energy dynamics in the home. Contrast this with people who are aware of the spiritual and energetic implications of their surroundings. Awareness itself provides a form of protection. By recognizing which items may attract negative energy, they can take proactive steps decluttering, repositioning mirrors, clearing abandoned objects, and maintaining sacred or protective items mindfully. This conscious engagement prevents the subtle accumulation of fear or anxiety, allowing for mental clarity, emotional stability, and even improved sleep quality. They feel a sense of control over their environment, reducing feelings of helplessness or dread. Furthermore, the spiritual impact goes beyond mental health. Unmanaged energy in the home can subtly influence decision-making, interpersonal relationships, and even personal motivation. Those unaware may struggle with repeated misfortunes or unexplained emotional lows. In contrast, spiritually conscious households often experience a more harmonious atmosphere. Energy flows more smoothly, emotional resonance improves, and a sense of calm and protection becomes tangible. Ultimately, these items act as mirrors of our inner states. They reflect our fears, unresolved emotions, and neglected aspects of self. By understanding and managing them, we not only protect our homes, but also fortify our mental and spiritual well-being. The contrast is clear. Awareness brings balance and empowerment, while ignorance allows subtle chaos to grow unnoticed, quietly influencing every aspect of daily life. Detecting negative energy in your home is not always about seeing ghosts or dramatic signs. Often, it manifests subtly, influencing your emotions, thoughts, and overall atmosphere without obvious explanation. The first tool at your disposal is intuition. That gut feeling when you enter a room, sensing discomfort or unease without knowing why, is often your subconscious noticing imbalances. Listen closely to these instincts. They are powerful indicators of energy shifts that may otherwise go unnoticed. Environmental signs are another way to detect negative energy. Persistent clutter, broken objects, or spaces that feel stagnant can act as anchors for unwanted energy. Even seemingly innocent areas, like an unused corner piled with old belongings, can carry residual emotional weight, amplifying stress or unease over time. Contrast this with rooms that feel light, open, and harmonious. Here, energy flows freely, and occupants report comfort, calm, and positive mood. Noticing the difference between these spaces is key to understanding where intervention is necessary. Emotional reactions also provide valuable clues. Pay attention to unexplained irritability, sudden anxiety, or lingering sadness that appears when entering certain areas of your home. These reactions may not be about external circumstances, but rather the subtle influence of negative energy embedded within objects or corners. Storytelling examples can make this tangible. Imagine a person who repeatedly feels drained in their living room, but experiences rejuvenation in the kitchen. The items or arrangement in the living room may be the source of the energy imbalance, even if it looks ordinary to the eye. Light and shadow also serve as metaphors for detection. A room filled with sunlight, openness, and mindful organization often radiates positive energy, while dimly lit, crowded, or emotionally heavy spaces can accumulate negative energy. Observing where your mind and body feel tense versus at ease provides an internal map of energy hotspots in your home. By combining intuition, observation, and self-awareness, you can pinpoint areas that require cleansing or reorganization before negative energy begins to influence your mental and spiritual well-being. Ultimately, detecting negative energy is about awareness and contrast. Recognize the spaces that feel heavy versus light, notice subtle emotional shifts, and trust your intuition. These insights empower you to act, protect your home, and maintain a balanced, harmonious environment for yourself and your loved ones. It's one thing to cleanse your home once, but the real secret to lasting peace and protection lies in prevention. Imagine your home as a living organism. It breathes in energy every single day. The people who visit, the items you bring inside, even your own thoughts and emotions. These are all currents flowing through the atmosphere. If left unchecked, stagnant and heavy energy settles like dust. Just as you wouldn't leave your home physically dirty, you also shouldn't allow negative vibrations to pile up unseen. The first and simplest preventive measure is regular cleaning. Dusting, sweeping, and decluttering are not just chores. They are rituals of renewal. When you remove unused, broken, or forgotten items, you prevent them from becoming energetic traps. A cluttered corner, for example, doesn't just collect dust, it collects emotions, arguments, stress, or even grief from the past. By keeping your space open and fresh, you block the places where negativity loves to hide. Second, practice mindful placement of items. Every object has a story. That gift from someone who betrayed you, that cracked mirror, or even art that depicts pain. These carry imprints of their history. Ask yourself, does this item uplift me? Or does it remind me of heaviness? Surround your home only with items that radiate positivity, such as family photos with happy memories, symbols of faith, or natural elements like plants and crystals. These don't just decorate your space, they fortify it. Third, reinforce positive energy daily. Light incense in the morning. Open your windows for fresh air, play calming or spiritual music, or simply speak affirmations of protection. Words and sounds vibrate into the atmosphere and shift the energy of a room. A simple practice such as lighting a candle with the intention of peace can create a shield against negativity. Fourth, maintain family and spiritual routines. A home where people pray together, meditate, or share gratitude before meals becomes a fortress of light. These routines don't have to be heavy or religious. They can be as simple as sitting together once a day without distractions, expressing love, or practicing silence for a few moments. The collective intention of peace within a family amplifies protection. Finally, cultivate vigilance without fear. Remember, prevention isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. A protected home doesn't feel heavy or anxious, it feels light, balanced, and alive. The contrast is clear. A neglected home feels tense, arguments linger, and restlessness grows. But a conscious home radiates calmness, where even guests feel at ease upon entering. When you commit to these preventive measures, you don't just protect yourself from unseen entities. You create an environment where negativity cannot survive. Your home becomes more than four walls. It transforms into a sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, peace isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. Sometimes the lessons we learn from theory only truly hit home when we hear real life experiences. Let's look at a few stories that illustrate what can happen when spiritual energy in the home is ignored, and the dramatic difference when attention is given. Our first story comes from a young couple living in a small apartment in the city. At first glance, everything seemed normal. They had a loving relationship, steady jobs, and a cozy space. But over time, tension began to creep in. Arguments erupted over small issues, sleep became restless, and there was an unshakable feeling of heaviness that lingered in the rooms. They tried ignoring it, blaming stress and work, but the atmosphere remained oppressive. After consulting a spiritual advisor, they realized that old, discarded items in their storage closet had been accumulating stagnant energy for years. These items, though forgotten, carried emotional residue from the past. Once they cleared the clutter, performed a simple cleansing ritual, and rearranged certain objects with intention, the change was immediate. The home felt lighter, laughter returned, and their connection deepened. A second example involves an elderly woman who had lived in the same house for decades. Family members had passed away, and memories of loss weighed heavily on the home. She noticed that her guests often felt uneasy, and she herself felt restless despite being surrounded by familiar things. She began noticing specific items: an old painting, a broken piece of furniture, and letters from past conflicts that seemed to anchor negative energy. With careful removal of these items and daily affirmations of peace, the atmosphere transformed. What was once a house filled with subtle dread became a sanctuary of calm. The contrast was striking: from chaos, unease, and emotional fatigue to harmony, relaxation, and joy. Finally, a modern-day story from a professional living alone in a high-rise apartment. Despite success in career and finances, she experienced repeated misfortunes, minor accidents, chronic fatigue, and even unexplained disagreements with friends. Skeptical at first, she learned that several objects she had collected during frequent travels were unknowingly attracting negative energy due to their histories and improper placement. She began a conscious practice cleaning, arranging with intention, and introducing positive symbols of protection. Slowly but surely, incidents decreased, her energy levels improved, and her home became a personal haven rather than a source of subtle chaos. Across these stories, a clear pattern emerges: ignoring the spiritual energy of your surroundings doesn't just affect abstract ideas. It impacts relationships, health, and emotional well-being. Conversely, when proactive steps are taken, peace and balance naturally follow. These stories are not meant to frighten, but to illuminate a reality that many overlook. Each of us has the power to transform our own space. Take a moment after watching this video to walk through your home. Notice the items that may carry heavy energy, and ask yourself whether they truly serve your well-being. This small act of awareness can prevent months or even years of subtle stress. Your home isn't just a physical space, it's a reflection of your inner state. Ensuring it radiates positivity doesn't require grand rituals, only conscious attention and consistent care. By learning from these examples, you can see both sides of the coin: the chaos that comes from neglect and the peace that comes from mindful action. The choice is yours, and your home's energy is waiting for your decision. To understand why certain items attract negative energy in your home, it helps to hear directly from an expert, She Heng Yi. Unlike many approaches that label these phenomena as mere superstition, She Heng Yi emphasizes a structured, practical philosophy grounded in awareness, intention, and disciplined practice. According to She Heng Yi, every object carries energy, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Old, damaged, or misaligned items can act as conduits for stagnant or disruptive energy. This energy subtly affects mood, relationships, and even health. While some traditions suggest simply avoiding these items or performing vague rituals, She Heng Yi's method is precise. It combines observation, intention, and deliberate action to restore balance and harmony in the home. Central to this philosophy is the idea that the mind and environment are deeply connected. The home reflects the inner state of those living within it. By addressing energy at its source, She Heng Yi teaches that individuals can reclaim control, rather than remaining passive victims of unseen forces. This approach contrasts sharply with generic, superstitious remedies, like chanting without understanding or randomly discarding objects, which may provide temporary comfort but fail to create lasting change. She Heng Yi also emphasizes the importance of structure. Just as in martial arts or meditation, consistency is key. Simple, repeatable routines, like mindful placement of objects, periodic cleansing, and reinforcement of positive energy, allow the effects to compound over time. He stresses that this is not about fear or paranoia, but empowerment, knowing that you can influence the spiritual atmosphere in your home and, by extension, your life. Practically, She Heng Yi recommends starting small. Focus on one room or one set of items at a time. Observe the effect of removing or rearranging them, and notice changes in mood, sleep quality, and interpersonal interactions. Pair this with conscious attention to daily habits, like maintaining cleanliness, fostering gratitude, and introducing symbols of protection, to amplify the effect. These steps are not just symbolic, they reinforce a mental state that naturally attracts positivity and discourages negativity. By integrating She Heng Yi's perspective, viewers can see a clear contrast. Homes left unchecked become subtle sources of stress and conflict, while homes maintained with intention become spaces of peace, clarity, and energy alignment. This structured, disciplined approach makes spiritual upkeep practical and accessible, removing the ambiguity that often discourages people from taking action. Ultimately, She Heng Yi's guidance is about reclaiming agency. It's a call to actively participate in the energy of your environment rather than passively experience its consequences. By combining awareness, structured action, and intentional placement of items, anyone can cultivate a home that supports well-being, harmony, and resilience. Now that you've explored the items that attract negative energy, the practical steps to cleanse your home, and the preventive habits to maintain balance, it's time to take action. Awareness alone is not enough. Knowledge becomes powerful only when applied. Your home is more than a physical space. It is a reflection of your energy, your intentions, and your well-being. Contrast makes this clear. A home filled with unchecked, stagnant energy fosters tension, restlessness, and subtle disturbances. On the other hand, a home cleansed of harmful items and maintained with mindful practices becomes a sanctuary, a place of clarity, peace, and empowerment. You have the tools to create this positive shift. Start by identifying and removing the objects discussed in previous sections. Cleanse each space with intention, following the rituals or steps that resonate with you. Integrate preventive habits, mindful placement of items, regular cleaning, and daily reinforcement of positive energy. Remember, the effort you put in today pays dividends in emotional, spiritual, and even physical harmony tomorrow. Empower yourself with the mindset that your home is under your control. You are no longer a passive occupant reacting to energy that you cannot see. You are the steward of your space, capable of shaping the atmosphere around you. By acting now, you ensure your environment supports your life goals, your health, and your peace of mind. Take charge today. Remove these items now. Don't wait for discomfort, conflict, or a negative event to force your hand. Each moment you delay is a moment your home remains vulnerable to stagnation and unseen forces. The choice is yours: a life of subtle unrest, or a life of mindful harmony and energy alignment. Finally, leave your space with gratitude and awareness. Feel the shift, however small, and recognize that every conscious effort strengthens your connection to a peaceful home. This is your opportunity to protect your sanctuary, to honor your environment, and to empower yourself. Act now, and let your home become a true reflection of balance, protection, and positive energy.